When using this lens professionally, such as when shooting a wedding, there's going to be times that you may have to go from full wide, which is about 18 millimeter with this lens, to full zoom, which is about 200 millimeter. And you can do this with a quick turn of your wrist in a second or two. And you can get shots that you may have missed if you didn't have this lens. Plus, this lens also has vibration reduction, so you'll be able to get a lot of shots handheld. Here's a good example of, say you're taking a nice wide shot of the wedding ceremony, and then all of a sudden you want to zoom in closer so you can get more of the facial expressions. And then actually you can zoom in even closer and get some really nice shots, which we do a lot of the hands and rings during the actual ceremony. Now, I do want to say that when I'm doing a wedding, I always have along one assistant and many times two assistants also shooting. And we all have different lenses on usually. If I'm using the 18-200, one of my assistants might have on a good prime lens, or he might be shooting with the 70-200. This way, we're going to be breaking it all up, getting all different angles and all different perspectives. In fact, one of my assistants even has more lenses than I do. But you can see how nice this is, though, just zooming in that close with just a turn of the wrist with this lens. Great lens. Let's look at a few more examples here. Fairly wide. Coming in close for the bride. Here's an example. In fact, I quick ran up to the balcony as the bride and groom watched the wedding party walking back after the ceremony, and this was shot at full wide, about 18 millimeter. Quick ran downstairs, and I got one of the couples as they're walking in. So just zooming in a little closer with this one lens. Really awesome for this type of photography. And it's also really great for doing large group portraits at a wedding. Here's an example of a really large family portrait. And some neat shots with a wedding party. Another large group. And then you can come in close for just the bride and groom. And here we're coming in close on an outside portrait. And then here we're zooming to full wide at about 18 millimeter. Same thing at the reception. They could be dancing. You zoom in a little closer. Here's a nice example. I think this was full wide here, about 18 millimeter. Then all of a sudden you do a full zoom in close, and then you can get just their more or less a half body shot as they're dancing. Another one, throwing the bouquet. We started with a photo of the bride throwing her bouquet, and then a couple seconds later we capture the girl that caught the bouquet. Here we're doing a full wide shot of a cake, and this was a pretty big cake, so we had to go pretty wide. And then all of a sudden we're just zooming in close so we can get more detail, say get a picture of the hands as you're cutting the cake. Another nice thing about this lens is that you can zoom in fairly close. It zooms in as close as about 16.5 inches, and that's really great for doing like hands and ring shots and also spiders. So next time you travel and want to get really great scenics but don't want to get bogged down with a lot of equipment and hassles, consider this lens. Now, Nikon also has a newer lens that's now available, and it's also a DX. It's an 18-300 millimeter lens. It's just slightly larger and a little bit heavier, but if you need the additional range, this might be the ideal lens for you. For me, though, I'm really happy with the size and weight of this lens, and the 200 millimeter is usually all I need to get great sharp images without constantly changing and dropping lenses. For more information and tips on professional photography, please visit www.photofonz.com. Thank you.